Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com. Elevate your brand with Mako Custom Printing. Mako Custom Printing specializes in creating high-quality spiritware, corporate apparel, and promotional products that make your brand stand out. Whether you need custom printing, graphic design, or an online store for your school or business, we've got you covered. Make a statement with Mako Custom Printing. Visit us at mako.com to start your custom printing journey today. That's MEHCO.com. And welcome to Sports on Tap. It's our high school football preview show. I'm Rob Troutman. It's presented by Raymond Felton State Farm. I want to thank him and all of our sponsors. We have Mako, we have RT Productions, and we have Troutland Entertainment. Stay with our show for afterwards, as we'll show again the commercial that we always show that kind of gives you some information. Check them out and support our sponsors. We have Sean Duffy and Noah Jacobson with us here today, and our first interview here tonight, you know, it's basically a Southwestern Conference show, and he's been the head coach for 13 seasons. He's kind of right down the street from me and Sean here in North Ridgeville. He's head coach of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs, head coach Thome Deluca. Hey, Coach, thanks for taking time to join us. I know how busy it is for you right now, but thanks for taking time here tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Coach, first let's start off with how has so far the off season been? Did you have a good summer? Because I know the summer goes so quick, and all of a sudden you're in the off season and you're trying to get organized. You know, weightlifting and everything going on. How has that all been going for you?
Well, the off season's been great. We obviously we start those 30 days after the season, and kids have been really focused, and we've had one of the best off seasons. You know, as we record our off seasons with all of our strength and our speed, and just try to take those measurements and see where we're at. We've done a really, really good job. So we're excited about that. You know, as for the summer, it's been short, like you said, man. It is quick. So, but yeah, so it's good. We're getting a lot of football in, and not a whole lot of downtime anymore now that we've started. It's all football, so we've got to kind of love that.
You know, Coach, looking back on last year, and you guys went 8-4. You guys won the first round of the playoffs, and you guys lose to Avon once again in the playoffs. But looking back on, what are some of the biggest things that you could take from last season as you guys are getting prepared for the upcoming 2025 season?
Yeah, I think, something that we've always looked at from day one is you just taking one game at a time, especially with our schedule and our conference. You know, you can't look past any team. Everyone's so well coached and everyone has such good players. I mean, really, you can pick a handful of players from each team that are standing out, that are capable of probably playing on any team in the conference or any team in the area. So really just taking it one day at a time, one game at a time. And I know it sounds like coach talk, but it is so true. That's one big takeaway. Two, for us, I think that we have a good group for the first time in a while coming back with experience. So leaning on that experience. The past couple seasons, we've only had 3 or 4 starters combined on both sides of the ball. Well, this year we have a good number of kids coming back that have had that experience. So leaning on that experience and, especially with like practices, being able to, I would say, get ahead of the game with installs, get ahead of the game with where we are offensively, defensively, special teams. So that's been a big, I don't want to plus or minus, nothing like that, but that's been something that we have taken into consideration moving into two-a-days and all that. So it's worked out. Those are a couple things I think have been working well for us in our favor.
Well, Coach, again, thank you so much for taking the time and speaking with us tonight. You look at Olmsted Falls as a team, and they're just the perennial team that's there. That's a credit to you and your staff. You mentioned that you have some talent coming back for really the first time collectively in a while. Who are some of those kids that you think are going to take that next step or continue along that path for you going into this year?
Oh man, I could sit here and list a ton of times for you. We have our whole offensive line coming back, and I think it starts there with, just the kids that have had experience. We have 6 offensive linemen who have had a start or one start or more and from last season coming back. That starts with Matthew Ionica at right tackle, Nathan Scheffler, he's the right guard, Scotty Draves, Charlie Martineau at left guard, Aiden Rivera at left tackle, and then Will Healy started a game for us last year at left tackle, and he's going to be another big piece to that puzzle up front. And then we have a couple other guys that are really doing a great job for us that are, going to contribute. So to me, with our schedule and who we play, it all starts up front. And I think that those guys are, the big keys. You got Owen Singleton, who's an all-state running back. He's coming back. You have Logan Conley. Charlie Krupka is a kid who'll play some offense, but also a starting safety coming back for us. Man, I could just go down the line here. And then obviously Mason Saravec was a kid who just came out for football the first year ever last year and had a huge year for us. Drew Miner, outside linebacker. He's a starter coming back for us. And I'm missing some people. I guarantee you that. And just off the top of my head here, but we have a lot of kids coming back with some really good experience. And I feel like, losing a quarterback like Jimmy Rosel that had started for us for 3 years, who had done so much for our program, those are big shoes to fill. And I think that we have a guy right now who's doing a really, really good job of stepping up, Cameron Pesh. And I really think he's going to have a nice season for us. Those are a couple kids. Cam, obviously he didn't start last year, but, I know everyone wants to hear about the quarterback position, and I think he's going to really do a good job for us and have a big year, moving forward. And we have some other young guys that are really stepping up, some juniors in there, and then a couple of seniors that are coming around. Cade Salashi, he's going to be one on the defensive line. He's doing a great job for us right now, going to be a senior. Let's see. There's so many guys. Trying to go through all of them in my mind right now. Adam Smith's a younger guy that's going to do some things for us. So we just have plenty of guys that have stepped up. We have some depth. I think that you could sit here and say that, we could be a 1 and 2 deep team, a true 2 deep team where our 1s and 2s combined are kind of very similar. They're the same. So that'll help us, especially in the gauntlet of our schedule.
We're talking with head coach of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs, Thome Deluca. And, Coach, you look at your team last year, your defense really kept teams down for the most part. I mean, there were some games, you had some shootout games, a 2 overtime game in Avon Lake. That was a crazy game. I remember that game very well. But like you said, the gauntlet in the Southwestern Conference going through, there's a lot of even teams, and some of the teams that might even be low in the standings still play very hard and give you a game. Talk about a little bit about the defense last year, because we talked about it. Coach Pace has done an incredible job. He's also been with you 13 seasons at Olmsted Falls, and how nice is it to keep some of those coaches that have been there a long time? Because like you said, go down your schedule, there's a lot of games, you only gave up 3 points to Brunswick, then 6 to Canfield. You go down the line, and your defense really did some nice things last year.
Yeah, as I mentioned before earlier, we only returned, I think we only returned 2 on that defense from the season ago. So we knew going into the year, hey, we got to get these kids up to speed quick. We got to get them prepped and ready to go. And, everyone, when you think Olmsted Falls, I'm not 100% on this, but, we start with our flex bone offense when people talk, because it's unique. And sometimes that overshadows, I guess, in conversation, the fact that our defense has been really stout. And Coach Pace is one heck of a motivator. He works his tail off, and he's constantly putting our guys in great position. I mean, if you were to come to one of our practices, he has a system that he does. It's called the Top Dog System, and I won't get into all the details, but it's like a motivational system that we use as a team, and he created, and it is amazing. It has helped us to have the kids really come to practice motivated, with energy and excitement every single day. And I know how in the summertime that can be hard to do, especially getting to the heat of two-a-days. And these kids are like dying to get over to defense to run around and play, and they'll run through a wall for him. So he's been outstanding. I think our defense this year is going to take another giant step up. I really feel strongly about that. The kids run to the ball really, really well, and pretty disciplined. So he's been doing awesome, and I think that you're going to see even another tier of our defense this year. Another step.
Coach, looking at your Coach, looking into your non-conference schedule, because it's an all GCC for weeks 1 through 3. I'll start off with week 1. That's going to be a big matchup going up against the defending GCC champion Mentor Cardinals and Coach Gray. And then week 2, you got Coach Carter's team at Brunswick. You were able to beat them last year. And then you got week 3 against Stronsville, Coach Trustig's team. Talk about the non-conference schedule and how you guys are preparing for that before you get into the SWC challenge in that.
Yeah, it's I'd be honest with you. It's like I woke up and thought I had a bad dream, and then I'm still in it. The conference is so darn tough. I'm like, man, how the heck does this happen to us? But in the off season, we were looking for games, and it was a struggle to get some games. We even looked out of state, and then we couldn't find anything. We might have went through like 12 opportunities where we had some teams that, hey, can we do this? And for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. And then, week 1, Coach Gray had reached out, and so it just lined up, and it worked out where we got them for a home and away in the week 1. And then obviously we've been playing Brunswick for a while, and I know Coach Carter, he's got those guys rolling. I mean, this is year 2 coming for him, and he's going to have everything in line and in order of where he wants them, and he's going to have them prepped and ready to go, and that team is going to be much, much improved. I guarantee you that. And obviously over at Strongsville, Coach Trusnick, those guys had a really solid season last year, and to me, I feel like they have a lot of depth, and they got a lot of kids coming back, and they're going to be a really, really strong football team this year. So for us, we got to take it one at a time. Our focus is right now just on week 1, and that's not to say that Brunswick and Strongsville are not really quality teams, because they are. We got to just look what's right in front of us. That's Mentor, and that's going to be one heck of a tall task.
Coach, we kind of touched on it a little bit on the top of the show here. You're going into your 13th year at Olmsted Falls as the head coach. It's a lot of experience, especially being the head guy of a program. Is there things that you're constantly changing as you're a head coach, or do you kind of find you're in a little bit of a groove? If so, what are some of those things that you're kind of looking at to kind of tweak year in and year out to kind of keep things fresh or keep things, on the right track?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're always looking to improve and to do things differently. Maybe not always schematically, but even within our scheme, how can we improve and, put our kids in the right positions or the best positions that suit them? And, at the end of the season, we typically do a SWOT analysis of the program. And when we do that, we kind of uncover some of the things that maybe we weren't doing as good as what we thought we were doing. And then we kind of attack that from December through, the end of February. And then how can we adjust some of those deficiencies, maybe, if you will, and maybe where, it's one of those, I guess, like the old adage, like if you win a game, it covers up some of the bad that you maybe wouldn't highlight. But when you lose a game, you go and everything's kind of popping off the screen. So what we really want to do is go back and take a look at those things that it maybe got lost in the shuffle that we weren't doing so well. The way we're rotating and substitutions of people in practice and how we're practicing this year is different than what we've ever done before. And we really like that. And so that's one thing that we were really pleased with. And then there's a few other wrinkles that we have within the program this year. But the mentality overall is very similar. And as far as what we expect and demand out of the kids.
We're talking with head coach Tom Deluca of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs. And, Coach, I was digging deep for some interesting facts about you. And it mentioned something, I don't know, I wanted to run this by you. It was in 2015. It said you slept at the 50-yard line. Is that true? And how did that come to be? Because I read that, I'm like, oh my, I have to ask this when he gets on our show, because I'm like, now that's interesting, and I wish we knew about it, because I would bring a camera, and that would be a great, great story.
Yeah, so I will tell you about that. It's kind of fun. So, this was my 3rd year being a head football coach, and we were looking for that really big win, like, hey, we got to get over the hump here. We were 4-6 my 2nd year. We lost a bunch of tight games, and so we needed to get that big victory over a team who was at the top end of the conference. And it so happened it was our rival with Berea, and that game's always tough for us, no matter what. Those guys are always coming and bringing their A game, and they had a ton of great kids on their team, and we were trying to get over the hump. So the kids in the summertime wanted to make a bet with me. They're like, "Hey, if we beat these guys on homecoming, you have to sleep on the 50-yard line." I'm like, "Hey, fine, no problem. Well, I'm in. I'll do whatever. Let's go get the W." Well, we end up winning the game, and we're in the locker room after the game. I'll never forget this. And I had forgot. I forgot about the bet, whatever. And the kids like, "Oh, we're going crazy. Like, Coach, we're going to meet you on the 50-yard line." I'm like, "Whoa, what are you talking about?" You remember you said that you'd sleep on? Oh, so here we go. I'm out there in a I had a pillow and a sleeping bag, and all the guys were, they had all their whole camping stuff ready to go. And the funny part about that is the police came out that night.
Oh,
kids,
man.
"Coach, you got to wake up. The cops are here."
Oh, my God.
It was hilarious. And so I talked to the police officer, and he was laughing. It was funny. So, yeah, it was good. It was really good. I didn't sleep much, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
That's what I was going to ask. I wondered if you got good sleep sleeping at the 50-yard line. They turn off the lights, and, I mean, hopefully it was a little chilly out.
It rained on us.
Oh, of course. And then it was probably grass, I'm guessing, right?
It was grass, yeah.
Oh,
it was pretty bad.
Oh, man. I mean, that's
some
awesome.
sprints happened the next day at practice. I guarantee that. You know what? I'm angry. Let's run.
I was trying to stay awake.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah, it was funny.
Coach, looking back on last year, obviously in the SWC, you guys went 4-3, and then you faced Amherst and Avon twice in the playoffs. You beat Amherst, and you fell short again to Avon. But looking back on last year's SWC, what are some of the things that you could take from last season in the SWC as you guys are getting ready to face the conference again going into this year?
Yeah, I think when you do your off-season breakdowns, take a look at your opponents and what you did well, then where do you need to improve, how your opponents attack you, and try to, maybe I don't want to say build the offense around just that, but if we have to make some tweaks here and there, I think that's number one. Number two, in order for us to get to where we need to be, our conference is so tough, and we have to play the best of the best. I mean, we got the defending state champs in our conference, and so taking a look at our preseason schedule, putting ourselves in position to compete with the best of the best, in order to put ourselves in position to at least compete for a conference championship. So those are two things that I thought, in the off season kind of brought, just from the takeaways from what we need to do to get over the hump with a few of the teams that we lost to last year in the SWC, and how can we get to the point where we have an opportunity to compete for a championship, and again, our conference is so tough, and then sitting at the top of that conference is Avon, and year in and year out, man, that's the bar that, they've set the standard, and we have to try to meet that standard. So we're working at that. And obviously everyone in the conference is working at that right now, but overall it's well coached, good teams. I think, Rob, maybe you said that, even the teams that maybe their record shows at the middle of the tier or lower, those are still good football teams that go and compete, if not win, other conferences.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Southwestern Conference is tough, and it's always a tough season, but it's always a fun season. And Coach, we appreciate you coming on. Again, your first game versus Mentor, then you play Brunswick and Strongsville in non-conference play, so a very tough non-conference schedule. But we wish you the best of luck this season, and I'm sure we'll be out to see those Bulldogs here this season sometime and have some players on later in the season.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot, and I hope to see you.
Thanks, Coach Deluca. Have a good night.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Coach.
Thanks, you guys.
That's head coach of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs, Thome Deluca, and a great interview with him. Always great to talk to him. And the Bulldogs, like I said, I was going to ask him that. That was a great question, Noah, if they were what they were doing with the Greater Cleveland Conference, man. They're almost in that conference playing 3 games right away. But we go from one coach in the Southwestern Conference to another. The Amherst Comets had a great season last year. They're looking to do that again this year. And he's in his 3rd season as head coach of the Amherst Comets, or coming up to the Amherst Comets here. It's Coach Thome joins us. And, Coach, thanks for joining us. Good to see you here.
Thanks, guys. Good to talk to you guys again.
Coach, the off season came pretty quick. How was your summer, and how's the off season treating you so far?
What do you mean by summer? What is that?
You know, when it gets hot every now and then.
I'm hoping you went on
yelling
vacation.
At kids in shorts and shirts and
Yeah.
as opposed to pads. That's the summer.
My wife and I took a small vacation, but no, I mean,
There you go.
it's football. You're working every day for the most part.
Where'd you go good for vacation? Anywhere good?
My wife and I went to Mexico. It was
There you go.
Nice. There
It
you
was
go.
good. It was good.
There you go. That's all you need.
How is the off-season program working out for you? I know a lot of weightlifting. You get to see some of your players. What's new and what's good? You know, you're in your third season. Now you're in the Southwestern Conference, and it seems every year you guys keep getting better and better. How's the off-season weightlifting program and everything else going for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good. Participation's been good. You know, we got a lot of multi-sport athletes, both our track program and our baseball season. I mean, they did all right. And you know, we're getting new facilities here, a stadium redo. So, you know, we've been all over the place on campus, you know, going to different fields for our running and whatnot. But, you know, a lot of excitement with the new stadium and everything. So off-season's been really good.
You know, Coach, when you say an off season, you know, you guys got your new turf, your new facilities and everything, but you guys get a couple transfers. I think it starts at the top with your quarterback, Cy Christensen. He comes from Clearview. He was 2-time All-State. And then you got the Midview running back of Michael Passarello. Talk about how those two guys will really be a big impact for your offense going into this season, and how awesome is it that they want to buy in and play for your program this year?
Well, I mean, it's just fortunate that this situation came, that they came to Amherst. Both student athletes are tremendous kids, tremendous people. You know, offensively, Cy does a lot for us, you know, on the football field. But, you know, going into the season, we had a three-way quarterback battle. Our JV team was 10-0. We played all three quarterbacks. We like all three of them. And, you know, Cy had to come in and win the spot. What happens, though, is all three of those players are going to find themselves playing somewhere else. So Nick Wilkinson, he'll be a junior. He's going to play wide receiver. Brody Glick, senior, he's going to get to play some defense at inside linebacker. And then the one that has always intrigued me the most, Jack Coleman, the sophomore, you know, all-state at basketball, he now gets to still learn quarterback, but he's probably going to end up starting at corner and playing some slot receiver. So Cy just makes us a lot more more depth and more versatile. And then, you know, Michael Passarello Jr., he's going to be the leader of that secondary. He's going to play free safety. And we really like our running backs. Peyton Gillis, he's a senior. He didn't get a bunch of carries last year because we had a two-head monster between Cole and JR, and they don't play defense, so there was never a reason to get them off the field. But we really like Gilly and we really like Michael. They're two different types of backs that kind of make our running game a little bit different than it was last year.
Coach, that's a great point when you mentioned that now you have sounds like you have a lot more depth and a lot more versatility with your players. Does that lend itself for you as a coach to kind of get a little bit more inventive, at least on the offensive side of the ball, with what you have, your kind of players with different skill sets in different positions that, you know, give them the edge? Does that kind of open that up for you, or are you guys just still just sticking with the game plan and just keeping the athletes where they do the most good?
Well, I mean, we're always going to put our players in the best position to win. But, you know, last year we two-platooned. But, you know, we had one or two players that have to go both ways. Like David Duzak's always going to play both ways. That kid, I trust him more than anybody. But our competition between our 1-0 and 1D is so good that, no, we do got to get creative. We have changed some wrinkles in the, you know, up front with the run game. You know, we've got like 6 receivers we like a lot. I'm not saying we got 6 superstars, but, you know, you don't have the ability to have an off day. And of those 6 receivers, only David plays defense. So, you know what I mean? If you want to, you know, take a day off, which I don't believe in, someone's taking those reps and you're losing that spot. You know, you throw Kale Charles in the mix, who's a tremendous baseball player. You know, he was an all-district wide receiver. You know, that kid, sky's the limit, and he's still scratching the surface of how to become a football player. And I already referenced Jack Coleman, but you know, Bryce Colvin was a transfer from Clearview a year ago. We like Lugar, who was an all-state pole vaulter in track. So we got a lot of multi-sport athletes that are really successful. And my job is when I get them in football, I got to hone that very quickly because, you know, they've got a passion in two sports, and sometimes those other sports pull them a little bit more than we're allowed to have them in football. And they've been doing a tremendous job.
We're talking with head coach of the Amherst Comets, Thome. And Coach, thanks for joining us. I know it's a busy time for you, but we've talked to a lot of coaches, and they have said that a lot of players are multi-sport athletes, and they have to be a little bit flexible on that. Looking at your season last year, obviously a really, really good season. You were 6-5 last year, and you started off winning your first 5 games. I mean, scoring 60 points against Berea Mid-Park in one of those games. You had some really good games, and at the end of the season, you lost a few tough games there, but you made the playoffs, and I think that's a really good thing for this Amherst program to experience. Talk about, the first 5 games, what you learned out of your team, and then near the end, maybe some of those players started to wear down, and, there's injuries always at the end of the season. What did you learn as a head coach last year? Obviously, winning the first 5 games, you guys were on fire, and you played some really good football with your team.
Yeah, I think going into last year, our biggest question mark was always going to be the offensive line. We had 5 brand new starters. We only graduate 1 of them, and we've got about 6 guys in the rotation. And that's where it's going to start up for us. We bring back our defensive line, which I'm excited about. And then, we were able to move we moved our strong safety, Tyler Den, to outside linebacker, and our inside linebacker, Mason Morales, to outside linebacker. And that's probably where they should have been playing because they're more of dynamic athletes. So defensively, we're just trying to figure out inside linebacker and strong safety. And then on the offensive side of the ball, we've got a lot of guys that return. We've got about 8 guys on both sides of the ball that have played some significant minutes for the last 2 years. We've got a few guys that have been 3-year starters. So, what I'm looking for right now is where is the leadership? Because last year, if a play was going to be named, we're calling 14's number. Everyone knew Cole Norris was getting that ball. If something bad happened, Cole was picking us up. So right now we're just looking for who's going to be those leaders, who's going to step up when things aren't going great, because we're still in the part of the summer where everyone's having fun. Everything's great. Everyone's happy. We scrimmage Brecksville on Thursday, and, I need to see us face some adversity, and I need to see some people step up and say, hey, guys, let's rally. Like, bad things are going to happen on a football field. Successful teams are the ones that step up. I don't think we died down or ran out of gas last year. We just played teams that are just better than everybody else. And you know what? You got to bring your A game as a coaching staff. You got to prep. You know what I mean? And, there's some games, I'd love to have back. I'd love to have a couple games back last year from my perspective of what I did as the coach to prepare these guys. And then, I'm sure the players, they wish they had this one or that one. But, we've washed that, and we're just focused in one day at a time like usual.
Coach, when you first got to Amherst, you took over the program. They hadn't won any ones, and then your first year, 3-7. Then last year, you got to 6-5, made the playoffs. How awesome is it just to been building the program from scratch and just giving the kids to believe and buying into your program right now?
Yeah, like I said, the energy's high in the entire community. Everyone from my quarterback club, the admin, these new facilities are going to be first rate, and everyone's using them. Soccer, tennis. Casey Wolf wants me to probably mention pickleball.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, we have a huge freshman class. We've got close to 40 boys, which is a huge number for us. I think we're trending in the right direction. But, in high school football, that can change, any year, any week. And I think positivity, I'm always try to be a positive guy, but I'm a realist. If you ask my players, they might say, Thome don't sound positive. But, I don't lie to these kids. I don't, sugarcoat things. I tell everyone how it is. And I think high school kids appreciate that. And we've been having some really successful teams here in Amherst right now. Obviously, our baseball team's tremendous right now. So there's a lot of positivity with all the sports going on right now.
Coach, one of the things that I've noticed because like I said, I live in North Ridgeville, and my son played Little League he showed up and played Little League baseball against some Amherst teams. I don't know if we actually competed, but there's a palpable buzz around even with the youth movement there, about kids getting into not only just football, but all the sports. And I don't know if you're at that point with this program where how much you're involved in that youth program or where that's at. But do you see that as the logical next step in building that kind of all-encompassing youth program that has them essentially running those same types of plays from when they're, Pee Wee football all the way up through high school? Is that the end game for you as a program builder at that point?
Oh, so we've already done that. My first
Okay.
year, one of the first things we did was get with the junior Comets. The junior Comets always host a 5-week youth camp in around April, and we always go there. I've actually had quite a few guys, coaches, that have transferred from junior Comets to junior high to my high school staff. So offensively, we're all running for the most part the same verbiage.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that knows youth football, they know defense is a tad bit different. But one of our major goals was, if we call inside zone this, everyone from K to 12 is going to all say the same thing. We're all going to run the same routes. We're going to talk it the same way. Last year we had a clinic for the junior Comets and the junior high staff. So I think we're getting there where it's like completely uniformed.
Mm-hmm.
But Saturday we had an inter squad scrimmage. Say that 5 times fast. And I had one of my padded flag teams there. The kids were there. We had a cookout with them. So if you're going to be successful in any football program in any community, especially in the Southwest, where everyone just streamlines everything, you've got to get into your youth programs.
Absolutely. And we're talking to head coach of the Amherst Comets, Tom Thome. And Coach, looking at your schedule this 2025 season, you start off at home versus a good Sandusky team. And we know the Buckeye Bucks very well, and you guys always have battles with them. And then you start off with North Olmsted away. So you have 2 out of your 3 games away on the road before you get back home against Berea Mid-Park. But talk about your non-conference schedule and getting Sandusky, Buckeye, and North Olmsted there in the first 3 games.
Yeah, it's a challenge. All 3 teams are going to show something from you. Sandusky won a playoff game last year, tremendously athletic. So you've got to match that athleticism. If you play Buckeye and you don't show up with your hard hat to play physical football, you're just they're gonna punish you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Coach D's been doing that for, I don't want to say the years because he might get mad. And then, North Olmsted is, I know they left the Southwest Conference and all that, but look at their non-conference. They're still playing a Southwest schedule for the most part. And Tim has them always doing such a great job. So it's a really good test to get into the Southwest Conference because it shows what do you have as a team. Can you play athleticism? Can you play speed? They're going to be well coached. So by the time you get to Berea, hopefully you figured all those things out.
Coach, one of the biggest changes in the offseason was the 12-team playoff ranking. It goes from 60 teams to now 12 teams this year. And most of the SWC teams are in D2 Region 6, which is loaded with some of the high-level quality teams. But talk about some of your thoughts of how this 12-team playoff format is for you guys.
You don't have any room for error, obviously. I think we had like 5 of the top 9 teams or something like that in the region in the Southwest. Statistically, I last year we ran it like you got to average like 28 points a game. You got to be under like 23 as a defense to be over 500 in the Southwest. And, we averaged 27.5 points last year. So we weren't good enough to be 500 in the Southwest Conference. So we've got to do a better job on that offensively. We made some changes this year defensively to get better in our minds. And, if you take care of business in the Southwest Conference, it's not going to matter. You know what I mean? But I know you were just talking to Coach Deluca. It's hard for us to get non-conference games. You know what I mean? We dropped Copley, which I think is going to be a very good program this year. And we picked up Sandusky, which won a playoff game. So no one's calling Southwest teams to say, hey, let's play football. And, we've all got to take care of non-conference and then battle week in and week out in the Southwest.
Yeah, it's always tough in the Southwestern Conference. Every time, you see it, it's just a battle throughout the year. But that's the fun thing in the Southwestern Conference. Now, Coach, one last question for me is, you came from Lakewood, which Lakewood, it was kind of almost the same situation where it seemed like they're a little bit down, and you got them on the winning track. What did you learn from coaching a very good Lakewood team to coming over to Amherst? Obviously, they're two different programs, and Amherst has always had a really good support system, and so has Lakewood. But what have you seen coming from Lakewood going to Amherst? What did you learn in that experience?
You know, I do think Lakewood, you know, as a coach and a professional, it humbled me a lot. I got that job pretty early after having some success as a coordinator, and I really thought that I was going to change the world in year one because I was the greatest coach ever. And, you know, I learned a lot to really pace myself. I learned a lot in terms of what really matters in terms of success in a program. You know, the thing that interests me in coming to Amherst is I thought I can maintain success on a pretty consistent basis. And not saying I couldn't have done it elsewhere, but you know, that was one of the things that really drove me to Amherst was I thought I can maintain it. I thought I would get a lot of support, which, you know, in year three, I mean, they've proven, you know, they will support me and they will support the boys and they'll support the program.
Absolutely. And the Amherst Comets start their season with Sandusky, face Buckeye and North Olmsted in the first 3 games. Coach, we appreciate you coming on. I know it's a busy time. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And obviously, we'll see you this season at some point and probably get some of your players on our show during the season as well.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your off season. The season's right around the corner.
I don't know what an off season is, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Bye,
Coach.
guys.
That's head coach of the
Coach.
Amherst Comets, Coach Tom Thome, joining us, guys. And
You know, Rob, it's so funny to me. I know we got Coach Elder coming on, but it's like you really see these Southwestern Conference coaches very much how like GCC coaches talk. Like we look at there's a reason why we cover these conferences, you know, specifically because the cream really does rise in these conferences. And he made a great point. And Coach Deluca made a great point. There's no shame in having a 6-5 record when you play in the Southwestern Conference. Obviously, every coach wants to win every game. But when you look back at the totality, the 30,000-foot view, and look at, you know, what comes out of the Southwestern Conference, what comes out of the Suburban League, what comes out of the GCC, these we say it in jest, but it's very true. These are meat grinder conferences. And a lot of teams don't want to go and be embarrassed by these teams in the non-conference. And that's not to say it's always going to happen, but they bring up a very good point. There's not a lot of teams out there, one, that want to travel up to Northeast Ohio and do that and play these teams because they are significantly better than a lot of the competition out there. They would rather wait for a playoff scenario. And the problem is that when these Southwestern Conference teams, these GCC teams get rolling in and they start running into the playoffs, then they're trying to stop a train that's at full speed. And that's a bigger problem. Like it's a big problem. And it's not to say that these teams are any better, you know, prepared or anything like that. It's just the way these programs are built and the way they take specifically in the Southwestern Conference, every team is trying to get to where Avon is. Every team in Avon Lake and Olmsted Falls and all these teams, they're so similar. The differences are fractions. We see it every week, every single year. It's fractions of difference. And that's the difference between winning and losing with these teams. Each one of these teams has the potential to go and play, you know, for a state championship or a regional championship. I mean, hell, you put any one of these teams in a different region and then they're likely in the regional finals. We see it all the time. It's just they're compacted in here. And really the competition has created this quote unquote problem, which I don't think is a problem at all. I think, hey, if you want to go play Sandusky or go play Toledo team and come back, because you know that if you handle your business in the Southwestern Conference, it's only going to make you better come playoff time.
Yeah, definitely. And with the scheduling and that, I think it really prepares some of these teams, just like Olmsted Falls and Amherst. It really prepares like those guys to really get ready to go into the SWC, which is it's a meat grinder every year. I mean, it's the SWC, the GCC. It's a meat grinder every year. And I think it's really important for these teams to, like, start these games to, like, get these guys prepared because the more experience you get, the more confidence you're going to get going into the SWC, which I feel like it's a really good thing for these teams to have these great non-conference opponents to get them going into the SWC.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, guys. And I mean, every conference we cover, it seems like there's no easy weeks for any of these teams. And Coach Elder hopefully will be on here shortly. But you know, what a season the Avon Eagles had, and it's always great to talk to these coaches, especially you look at a lot of them, and I'm realizing a lot this year that these coaches have 10-plus years experience at the same school, which you don't always see all the time. Sometimes you see changes.
That's a very good point, Rob. I mean, we just got off talking with Coach Thome, and he's got he's been there his third year, but he's already at the point now where a lot of coaches spend 5 years trying to get to, where they got everything and they're tweaking things, and that's great for him. And again, I look at, the Southwestern Conference. Look, we talk about it all the time. It's Avon till someone beats them, right? Avon Lake's always around. Olmsted Falls never goes away. But Amherst is a team that's on the come a little bit. North Ridgeville's on the come. Like, there's no easy week. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no sisters of the poor in this conference. And that's and that's what Coach Thome just said. There is no day off. You take a day off, you're going to get beat. And that doesn't just mean in the Southwestern Conference. That's in your non-conference. So that's what these coaches are wrestling with day in and day out with these players. It's like, hey, when we come to play, we need to be at our top tier, our best. And if we get beat, we get beat. But I don't want to get beat and not have our best game with us. And that's a tough thing for coaches, especially talking to young men. I mean, let's be honest; these are young men. They're trying to learn their ways to do things. And I'm interested to talk to Coach Elder because, again, he's got, I think, an ultimate distraction here because he's coming off of a state championship, and he's got to, I'm sure he'll say, but he's got to kind of be the party pooper and say, guys, that's last year, that's 2024, we're 2025, we're owing it, we haven't won a game, we haven't won one game yet, we are not defending champions, we got to earn it again. But it's a tough thing to do when, you reach that mountaintop, and how do you flip that switch? And, is it something you're constantly having to fight against? You never know, because sometimes you're not in this situation.
Yeah, and I wonder,
Yeah, definitely.
I was going to say, guys, Coach Elder's running about 5 minutes late. He's running, or he's doing a radio show right now, and he should be out at some point here. But, when does that wear off? If you win a championship, does that, you enjoy it? I know Avon had a nice parade where the community came out. Does it end after that parade? Or, I mean, that's the tough thing, when you look at some of the, I mean, I wouldn't know because I've never won a state championship, and a lot of us haven't. But if you're the Avon Eagles, oh, Jesus.
Well, Rob,
when does it end, Sean? When does it end?
Speaking as a champion, Rob, you're always a champion. Okay?
I know, I've won.
You're always a champion, and you're never someone that's never not a champion. In fact,
that's nice of you to say.
Winning championships is you're going to carry that with you forever. But yeah, you're right. I mean, those seniors that graduated, absolutely, they'll always be champions. They can ride that forever. But it's the seniors that are coming back now. They have to. I'm just going to put this right over here.
Well, it's nice that you said that I'm always a champion. I mean, that's
No. I said I'm always.
That's really nice. You said you're always a champion, and I know that. I mean, in my mind, I'm always a champion and always will be.
Okay, well, but yeah, I mean that's a tough thing to get over. But again, I think any coach will tell you they turn the page the minute that parade's over. Yeah, that's all nice and stuff, but guess what? We don't have an opportunity. Like now we're no longer hunting. We're the hunted. So everyone's bringing their best game against us. They know, hey, not only is it we got to beat Avon, now we got to beat the defending state champion Avon, and that carries with it a little bit more pep. And you're going to practice harder that week than you probably would. Not to say you're emphasizing it, but yeah, you want to beat that team because you want to say, well, hey, they're state champions, but we beat them. And that's tough to talk about, and that's tough to really have to go against a lot of times. But what do I know?
That's right. What do we know?
What do we know? We don't know much. Oh, there he is.
And joining us now, there he is. He's a popular guy, and I want to make sure I get this right. You're going into your 18th season, am I right?
19th season at Avon.
19th season at Avon.
25th overall. Yes.
Holy cow! Where has the time gone with Coach Elder? I mean, that's incredible. 19th season, 16-0 last year, 2024 state champs. Does that ever wear off hearing that now?
No, I mean, we try not to talk about it now. We've turned the page, and it's not what to say. I get really uncomfortable actually talking about it. But I will tell you this. I've been a head coach for 25 years, and we've won one state championship and runners-up. So it's hard to do, obviously. And I said it was a really cool moment. It's one I recommend to anybody. But it's never been my why, honestly. And every journey I've taken with a group of kids has been rewarding in its own sense. And they've all been a different story. And I'm trying to remind this group that, yes, they want to repeat. Yes, the goal is still to try to win a state championship, but that can't define us. You got to be really good and lucky to win a state championship. And last year we were both, and this year we hope to be both again. But we're going to make sure that we have checkpoints along the way and enjoy every step in this process.
Well, Coach, let's start out right there. I mean, obviously the distraction aside of winning a state championship and all that, that's great. What has it been? What's your off season been like? What's been obviously the mantra's been the repeat, obviously, but what's been your kind of focus with your team coming into this year, going as we come into 2 days and the beginning of the fall camp?
Yeah, I mean, it's been the same as it has been the last 15 years, quite frankly, and I've been here 18 years, and I don't say 18 because we've evolved as a coaching staff. We've gotten better and given our kids a better opportunity to win over years as well. But we had a parade, after the state championship, and it started with all of the seniors being on a float, any alumni who showed up on a float, any little kid who came on a float. But I made the sophomores and juniors walk in the back of the parade, and they're like, "What is going on?" Like this. And I said, "I don't want you to get soft with success." And they looked at me like, "Oh, but they literally walked the entire parade. And I thought that was a good start to us saying that, come January 1, we're turning the page and we are process oriented, and you've got work to do. And they have done a great job of that. This senior class is hungry. There's 39 of them. They work really, really hard in the weight room in the off season. And a lot of these kids have waited their turn to play as seniors, and that's why we're successful year in and year out is we have 30 plus seniors every year. And many of those kids are getting their first chance to play on Friday nights. And so as much as we won a state championship a year ago, many of these kids, the joy is actually seeing them finally accomplish their goal of playing under the lights on Friday.
Coach, I didn't even talk about some of their seniors because last year was great with winning a state championship. Now it's this senior class to go do that. And even talk about some of the seniors. It starts out with your son and quarterback, Blake Elder. He kind of started as a sophomore into those playoff games when you guys made that run into the Final Four. And then you got a couple scholarship dudes, Jacob Weatherspoon, the North Carolina commit, Ryan Starlowski, Maddox Huff, and his brother Mason, Cameron Wendell, Trevor May. Talk about how those guys are able to bring that senior leadership as you guys get ready for this upcoming season.
Yeah, well, first off, they're a fun class to coach. They got a strong work ethic. They love each other. They work exceptionally hard. They just enjoy playing the game of football. And this group's special to me because obviously when I got to Avon 18 years ago, I started the Avon Youth Football Association with the help of a man named Brian Bennis, who's since passed. But Brian and I sat there and created a vision for what we wanted this to be. And so I got to coach Blake, in third grade. And so a lot of these teammates were on my team in third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade. I've been coaching these kids for a long, long time. And so this is going to be a special year for me because I'm so close with so many of these kids. And, they've worked really hard. And like you mentioned, last year we played 18 JV games because we try to play 2 each Saturday. And we went 15-3. And had a lot of success because there were some talented juniors who just were, they would have started for a lot of schools in the area, but for us, they were backups. And so they had to play JV football. And now they get their opportunity. But then you also have that group of guys back like Jacob Witherspoon, who's committed to North Carolina, Ryan Stolarski, who's committed to go play football at Miami of Ohio, Lance Dawson, who's committed to go to Cincinnati. So we've got some elite, Division I talent sprinkled in with a bunch of kids who work really hard and are good at the game of football.
Yeah, we're talking with head coach of the Avon Eagles, Mike Elder, joins us here on Sports on Tap on our high school football preview show presented by Raymond Fountain State Farm. And Coach, it's interesting to see all these Division I, or you have a lot of kids playing still college football. I'm sure it's fun to see not all these kids get to play college football, and it's tough to do. But has that led you to, is it because of the success of your program that a lot of these kids continue to play in college? Because I think we're seeing a lot more now, or maybe, then it wasn't all over social media and as popular as it is now, but it seems like a lot of your players are getting a lot more looks from college coaches now.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, there was a time, early in my career at Avon where some of our really talented players considered going to other schools because they felt like they had to do that to get recognized and to play elite competition. And so, we lost some kids early on in my career that really wanted to go somewhere else to play because they thought they could get more attention when it came to college football. They all know now that every coach in the country comes through Avon and asks about our players, and if you're the best player in Avon's team and you fit all the measurables that are required to play college football, they're going to find you at our place. I have a relationship with all the college coaches. So we just don't lose the guys we have. We're a closed enrollment public high school, and if we've got a great player, they generally want to stay and play for us because Friday nights are really special in Avon. A unique thing is we had a guest speaker the other day, and he was asking, with show of hands, how many of you want to play college football? And he was shocked because not tons of hands went up. And I'm telling you, these are like all Ohio type level players that are comfortable and okay with, hey, I'm a high school football player, but when this ends, I'm going to go to college and be a college student and do something else. And they know this is it for them. And so we're cool with that. This isn't a factory where everyone has to play college football, but if you want to play, we're going to help you get there. And if you don't, you're going to have a really good experience as a high school player, and we're going to make you the best version of yourself as well.
Well, I could definitely test that because one of my favorite things to do every year is to go to an Avon home game. Doesn't matter who you guys are playing because you guys have this Friday night atmosphere that just lends itself to I mean, it's on par with a lot of Division I college football. I went to Bowling Green, and your pregame is a lot more hyped up than some of the Bowling Green pregame. Can you talk a little bit about how that's progressed as you've been a coach? Is that more so student driven, or is that just the community just really buying into what Avon Eagle football is?
Well, I think it stems from your senior class and what do they want Friday nights to be. And what I mean by that is we've had a couple of years in Avon, we're not super proud of this, where, the players thought they were bigger than the experience, right? And so if you have a bunch of arrogant guys walking around the school like, look at me, I'm better than you,
right,
and they carry themselves that way and conduct themselves that way, you will get no support. I can promise you no students are going to show up to watch you or cheer for you. We try to create a message to our players that Friday nights in Avon are about a lot of things, and we're a piece of it, but it's the student section in our end zone. They're showing themselves, right? The cheerleaders are down there leading that. The marching band sits right next to them, and we have a great marching band. And so they are a part of this show. We are a part of the show. The young kids section, the alumni section. So we're just a piece of this puzzle, and I think if you're humble about it, and you realize that Friday nights are truly just a community event that we get to participate in, and you carry yourself that way, people want to support you. But no one wants to support arrogance. No one wants to support a team that thinks they're better than others. And we have great kids in Avon, and they don't conduct themselves that way. And this group is a very likable group as well. And so I'm pretty excited about, Friday nights in Avon to continue to be what you come and see, which has just been years of people coming together and realize, hey, this is a lot of fun on Friday nights. And
it is.
I had a friend of mine. It is fun. I had a friend of mine who stopped coaching varsity football, and he said, hey, the other day it was a Friday and I went to Costco. I'm like, did you know that there's people actually like out eating at Red Robin and they're going to Costco on a Friday night? Shut up, man. Stop the press.
Oh, man.
Because honestly, in my life, I've never been anywhere else on a Friday night than a football stadium.
There you go.
And I want to keep it that way.
Coach, looking into your non-conference schedule and this year for weeks 1 and 2, you guys both start the season on a Thursday night, which I've never seen many teams start their season on back-to-back weeks on a Thursday night. But You guys start your season in week 1 against St. Ignatius, in which you know them pretty well. You faced them last year and beat them at Cooper Brown Stadium last year. And then you guys traveled down to Florida to play Spruce Creek in that. And then in week 3, you guys face off against Glenville once again against Coach Skin and his staff. But kind of talk about how your non-conference schedule looks like for this year before you even get to that SWC schedule this year.
Well, the SWC, we all know that that's great football because there's so many great coaches and players in our league. But our non-conference, you have to put feelers out there for games, and we don't get a lot of people jumping up and down saying, hey, we'd like to play Avon. And, when it comes time to play St. Ignatius, who we have tremendous respect for, and then Spruce Creek, which is, a suburb of Daytona Beach, and they've got great players themselves and some Division I talent. And then Cleveland Glenville, and Coach Ginn and I have developed a relationship, and I have so much respect for him. Our players want to play in big time football games, and that's exactly what we get week 1, 2, and 3. And we recognize that those games could go either way. And I tell our team that we will not be very good week 1. And people are like, what are you talking about? Because the truth is we're not going to be very good week 1. If you think about our team and our program and where we want to be by week 10 at the end of the year, we're a shell of where we want to get to. And each week we will continue to grow and get better. So week 1, our goal is to just be a little bit better than St. Ignatius. And if we're not, then we'll learn from that experience and we'll try to be a little bit better than Spruce Creek. Last year we were 16-0, won the state championship, and those first 3 games could have went either way. We ended up beating St. Ignatius 42-21 at Brown Stadium. But that game was closer than that score indicated. And then week 2, it's 21-14 against Camp McKinley, and that game was in question the entire way. Week 3, 13-12 against Glenville. So we could have been 1-2, and instead we're talking about, hey, we're 16-0 state champs. I mean, and we could have still won a state championship if we started 1-2. So we want to win these 3 games, but more importantly, we want to be battle tested.
We're talking with head coach of the Avon Eagles, 2024 state champions in Division II. Coach Mike Elder joins us. And Coach, we talked about before going into your 19th season. How do you keep things fresh? We talk with a lot of different coaches, and it's easy to do the same thing over and over because it's what's worked. But how do you keep things fun for your players and keep wanting to build on the momentum each year?
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that. And so, one thing for me, I love to talk to coaches who have done it before me and done it at a high level. And every chance I get to sit with Chuck Kyle, or I get to sit with Larry Karras or Donnie Hertler from North Canton, I'm picking their brains about things. And what I didn't want to do is grow old as a staff. So I'm growing old. Obviously, I've done this for my 26th year in coaching high school football as a head coach, 32 as a coach. We have infused young guys into our coaching staff, right? And they bring in fresh ideas, fresh energy, fresh perspective. And then what stops it also from getting old is, a lot of these kids, it's their first experience. We got a lot of seniors getting ready to step on the field. There's probably 12 or 13 of them that were part of these JV teams a year ago, and it's their first opportunity to play on Friday nights. And so that's fun to watch them do it. But along the way, along this journey, there's a lot of suck in football. Like there's some things that just aren't fun. And I tell them that's what makes it special. And we do these things that are hard and not everyone's willing to do, and it's what makes it special. But tomorrow we're setting up a bucket golf tournament that we got going on in between practices. We're doing a cornhole tournament, and we're also going to do a ping pong tournament. I feel like I'm the odds-on favorite to win all 3 of these championships.
Okay.
But only time will tell. But we just try to do different things to keep it fresh and make sure our players are having fun, because it should be fun, but it's also hard. I don't care what anybody says. Football has not gotten easier. It's not gotten softer. This is a tough game played by tough people. And I have mad respect for our kids who choose to do that at Avon.
Now, you realize, Coach, that you've just laid the gauntlet down for not only bucket golf, but cornhole and what was the other one?
Ping pong.
Okay, so I played bucket golf. It looks very easy on TikTok. It is not easy, and it's almost as frustrating as actual golf, at least if you're terrible like I am.
I bought a set. I know exactly what it is, and I'm telling you, I'm pretty good. I'm just saying. Now, there will be an Xbox tournament too, a little Madden tournament going on.
Oh,
I will not be participating. I will not be participating. I will get beat by 60, and I won't do it.
Nice. Now that's fun. Now, where does that happen at? Does that happen in the locker room or at a school area or?
In our locker room. So we have a coach who's in charge of it. You sign up for whatever tournament you want to enter. He puts the dates of the game, and the goal is in the next 3 weeks, that we finish these tournaments. So you just kids will have to, after practice, in between practices, maybe even before practice, get a quick ping pong game in. And so we keep the tournament moving, and then we'll crown champions in all of these, which, and some people would say it's just as important as winning that state championship as getting that ping pong.
Yeah. Just saying. You can walk around as champion of the bucket golf, like I am.
Right.
That's cool. I'm digging that. I like that a lot. I think that's a lot of fun. I bet you the players, like you said, they'll always remember their experience as an Avon Eagle. So, Coach, we appreciate you coming on and talking about last season and this season coming up. And we're excited to get this season started. And I'm sure we'll be out to Avon to cover the Avon Eagles and hopefully get some players on our show as the season goes along.
I sure hope so. And I really appreciate you guys. You do an outstanding job. And I know our players who have been on your show really appreciate it. So if you need anything, I'm here, and I'll get you some of these good young men because we got some awesome kids you'll love to get to know better.
Well, we appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
Excellent.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate
it. Thank you, Coach.
Take care. Sorry for being a little bit late. I apologize. I was trying.
Worries.
Oh, that's all right. You're a busy guy and you're a popular guy. We get it.
All right, gentlemen.
Thanks,
Have
Coach.
a good one.
You too.
Thank you, Coach.
That's head coach of the Avon Eagles, Mike Elder, joining us, winning the 2024 Division II state championship last year in Canton. They went 16-0, and what a season they had. And like he said, you look at their schedule in the beginning. They had some very close games. That 21-14 game against Canton McKinley, and then they took on Glenville. I think the conditions weren't great in that game.
Terrible.
Yeah, I thought it was raining.
Monsoon game.
Yeah.
Remember, that was the game that I got washed out at Lakewood, and I told you guys I can't even. My phone was
that's right.
My phone was swimming in my in my hand. But yeah, it's like I said, it's the beginning of the season, and you really just got to focus on that first game, and that's the thing we've heard from a lot of these coaches is, the schedule is what it is. Southwestern Conference schedule is what it is, but that non-conference game, you don't even worry about it. You're worrying about that first week. For Olmsted Falls, we're focused on Mentor. For Amherst, we're focused on Sandusky, and for Avon, we're focused on St. Ignatius. Yeah. Anything beyond that is fodder for idiots like us to talk about. You know what I mean? we're talking about it, but I tell you right now, in those locker rooms and those fields, they don't care about anything except for who they're playing week one. What I'm excited about, guys, what I think is going to be great is we are really getting into we're in August now, so 2 days are well underway. We're smacking pads. You know what that means? A couple of things. That means we're about to start announcing where we're going for our
pretty
week,
soon
for our football weeks, where we're going to what games we're going to be stomping the sidelines, where people are going to start throwing things at Noah. I encourage anyone, if you see Noah Jacobson on the sideline and you have something, not anything hard, but just toss something to get his attention so he puts you on his camera.
Oh man!
Don't talk to me because I am basically deaf in this ear, so I can't really hear anything. Rob will likely be your new mayor by the end of that game.
Possibly, yeah.
After talking with most of the city fathers at the game before shooting any video. And then Josh, of course, will be there just thumbing it down, and Ed'll be holding it all down with the stats. And that's right. That's what we do here. But what we can tell you is that all that mixture mixes together and creates what is hands down the best high school football coverage you will see in the state of Ohio. I'm putting it up against anybody. If you don't like our coverage, if you think you can do better, I dare you to put it up against us because you can't beat us. We cover the Suburban League, both the Natty and the Murica, the GCC, the Cleveland West Conference, and the Southwestern Conference. The big dogs in Northeast Ohio is what we're covering. And the only way you're going to see it is if you smash the notifications bell and subscribe right below. Ting, ting. So that way when we go live. We're going live every Monday night. We're going to be talking about the week before, and giving you some stats, going to have player interviews, going to have
Yeah.
a whole lot of fun. And if you're not signed up or subscribed, you're going to miss all of it. And then you're going to be like, hey, what happened last Friday night in Northeast Ohio football? And you're going to be relying on subpar services, and you shouldn't be doing that. Come to us, Sports on Tap. That's where we're at. Also, I got to point out to my man Noah. The guy's basically Adam Schefter of Northeast Ohio football. He's camping out. Look at it. He's all sunburned because he was out there running drills in Medina today. And he was out of Buckeye.
I think he made a few tackles. I think he made a few tackles today.
The poor kid.
Don't worry, I was probably out working some offensive line over there.
Okay, yeah. See? Now but that's the kind of coverage you're going to get from here, us at Sports on Tap. So not only if you guys are viewers or you want to reach out and say, hey, get spotlight some of us, we'd love to have interaction. Please reach out to us at sportsontap.podcast@gmail.com. They all go to Rob. Rob reads them. He's the man. He runs our show. He runs our little boat here. Josh is our man on the spot with the social media. I am merely here to look good, which is probably why I'm not doing a great job. Noah's got the Dr. Hooves thing going. I mean, it's all hands on deck. We're doing a great job here, but the only way you're going to see all of it is if you subscribe to our YouTube page. Also, if you're a sponsor, please reach out. We'd love to talk about your business and what we can do for your business going forward, locally and nationally. Whoever you got, we are more than willing to schlep and shill for any business. I have no shame.
That's
Other
right.
than that, guys, I think we had a great night. I know.
Yeah.
Obviously, first off, can we have a 5-second conversation about the fact that Josh Jeffy right now is on a beach?
I know.
And it's not that I'm mad about it. I'm actually jealous.
At least he didn't call in and try to get on the show with showing his feet in the sand and showing the ocean in the background. That would have made me really jealous. But
thank God.
Thank
God, because I'd have probably hung up on him because I'm jealous that I should be at the beach. But someone's got to hold down the fort, and that's what
right.
we do. But yeah.
Yeah, we had a great show. I want to first thank head coach of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs, Tom Deluca, to join us today. And then we had Tom Thome of Amherst join us, and head coach of the Avon Eagles, Mike Elder. I want to thank all three of them for taking time to join us. And all these coaches that come on our show or SOT Extra. I know Noah, this guy's all over the place. He also does our social media. Everybody's doing a great job, and want to thank the coaches and athletic directors for making everything happen. Obviously, we've been in touch with a lot of these coaches over the years, so it's great to really reach out and talk to these guys. And we have a great show next week as well. For our next show Monday night, we have head coach of the Avon Lake Shoremen, Coach Kostelnik, will join us here. For Twinsburg, Coach Salter will join us, and then for Westlake, Coach Yantek will join us all next Monday night right here on Sports on Tap. It's our high school football preview show presented by Raymond Felton State Farm. And he's out of Hudson, but there's no limits. Give him a call, and he can give you a quote on insurance. He does a great job. He listens to you, is there for you, and will give you the best price possible. Just a great guy, and does a lot for the show and supports high school athletes, just like Mako in North Ridgeville, MEHCO. If you have custom apparel like the ones we're wearing, or our hats, anything, they do schools, they do all kinds of different things. Give them a call. Their sponsor, their video is going to be coming up after this. Watch them. Support our sponsors. As we appreciate that, and I'm sure they will too, as they support your high school athletes. So, guys, any last words before we close down the show until next Monday night?
I do want to.
Go ahead.
No, I do want to point out for all three coaches tonight. I'll first start off with Olmsted Falls head coach Tom Deluca and that, because I think it really helps when you guys have experience in that, even though they lost to Avon in the playoffs once again. But I think it really helps when you have 6 offensive linemen returning. And I think it really helps when you're blocking for a running back like Owen Singleton, who's primed for another big year, which really helps. So I think Coach DeLuca is going to have those guys ready to go going up against anybody, whether it's not conference or SWC. He's going to go up against anybody, whether it's the GCC schedule to SWC, he's going to bring it. And same thing for Coach Thome. I mean, he's already focused on week 1, whether he's got those 2 transfers in, Cy Christensen and Michael Passerell, but it's those other guys really competing for those spots in that. But I mean, he's got a lot of returning players. Coach, same with like Coach Deluca and that, and they're primed for another big year. Hopefully, they can return to the playoffs just like last year. And then for Coach Elder, it's last year was last year. He's telling this group of seniors, this is their chance to make their own dream to win a state championship. And I think it really helps with the players that he has coming back because he said this is a special group. And I think he's really excited for his play, not only himself, but his players. They're really excited for the non-conference schedule because it's a loaded non-conference schedule with the teams that he's got this year because it gives him a great challenge to go up against anyone before the SWC schedule. So, again, what a great night for the conference schedule for this season, and what a great night to talk to these coaches from the SWC, and I'm already looking forward to getting back to Monday nights to start with our coaches once again.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Noah. Great job as always, guys, and we'll see you Monday night. So, I'm Rob Troutman. Want to thank you for watching.
Wait, Rob Troutman for Rob Troutman. Go.
For Rob Troutman.
Yeah.
For Sean Duffy, for Noah Jacobson, for Josh Jeffy, and Ed Dick, want to thank you for watching Sports on Tap. Spend a little time listening to our sponsors, support our sponsors, and have a good night, everyone. We'll see you on Monday night. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com. Elevate your brand with Mako Custom Printing. Mako Custom Printing specializes in creating high-quality spiritware, corporate apparel, and promotional products that make your brand stand out. Whether you need custom printing, graphic design, or an online store for your school or business, we've got you covered. Make a statement with Mako Custom Printing. Visit us at mako.com to start your custom printing journey today. That's MEHCO.com.